Week 8 of the bet. I'm recording this Sunday evening, and I'm realizing just how much I love closing my week this way, making these episodes. It's becoming my little Sunday night ritual. So I'm officially claiming it. Sunday nights are podcast recording nights. It's a perfect closure to each week, perfect chance to look back at what's happened and find the pattern that was trying to reveal itself. And this week, the pattern was everywhere. 2 coyotes showed up on my Thursday morning walk. A messaging workshop I went to tried to teach me perfect messaging while the universe was already delivering the answer. And a financial curveball resolved itself in the most miraculous way. All of it pointing to one truth. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right people. Every journey starts with a choice, and mine is a bet. For 1 year, I'm gambling on energy over strategy. No more forcing and no pushing. Just the courage to show up and see what happens when reality becomes my playground. This isn't a podcast. It's a real-time experiment in the lab of my life. Welcome to the bet. Let's start with my Monday morning walk. What a magical moment. The sky was doing something I'd never seen before. There was this perfect blue dome above me with edges painted completely different colors. The eastern horizon looked like it was dipped in golden honey, and the western horizon was this deep indigo purple bluish magic, and the whole dome glowing this soft blue light without a single cloud. Magnificent doesn't even capture it. I'm standing there under that impossibly beautiful sky when a download drops in. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right people. I've heard versions of this before. We all have. There's hearing something, though, and then there's receiving it. This felt like it was being delivered directly to me, like it was landing in my cells and rewiring my nervous system and changing how I moved through the world from that moment forward. It was that kind of different. We spend so much energy trying to get our messaging just right, especially if you're out there building a business, creating content, or trying to communicate something that matters to you. We filter things. We wordsmith. We second guess. We look for the perfect angle that will make people want what it is we're offering. And under that dome of sky, I understood the filtering isn't helping us connect. It's creating distance. Every layer of strategy that we put on something becomes another veil between the truth we're trying to speak and the people who need to hear it. And worse, every time you manufacture the right words, when you try to figure out the right strategy based on some approach, you're telling your subconscious that your natural expression isn't enough. You're telling your subconscious that you need to perform to be valuable, that who you are requires some kind of editing in order to be listened to. So the universe always has a sense of humor. Wednesday and Thursday of this week, I happened to be in a 2-day virtual workshop through my mastermind. It was all about messaging and building an audience. They were teaching us that if you're building a business right now, you got to have 3 things. And I don't disagree with this. First, you need to lean into building a personal brand, your brand, with your face on it. your personality, your vision. People connect with other people, not concepts, not companies. Okay, second, you need some kind of consistent long form content, which means some kind of substantial content where you can dive deep, like YouTube videos, podcast episodes, Substack articles, detailed newsletters, places where people spend real time with you, getting to know how you think, how you say things, what your perspective is. And third, you need a commitment to some type of short form content for discovery. This is where I've been hanging out, right? Instagram or TikTok or YouTube shorts or LinkedIn posts. This is the snackable stuff that gives people a taste and is supposed to make them hungry for more. I realize I give as much of a full meal as I can in every post I do. I can't help myself. I don't do well with snacks. I need a full meal made with all the macros. Okay, so that's the strategy. That's the system. And it does make sense to me. And then they brought in some YouTube experts, people who are actually part of our group, who had some really compelling evidence about why YouTube is maybe a platform to consider. Because people who go to Instagram go there by and large to escape from whatever it is they're doing. They want a little break for their attention. They're going to check out and scroll. They don't log on to Instagram thinking, I'm going to learn something. They're thinking, amuse me, or let me just zone out for a bit. Whereas YouTube is actively searched for answers. People go to YouTube to find solutions and answers for what it is that they want to discover and learn. They come with questions and they go to find answers. So one woman who was presenting to us has built this amazing 7-figure business all through YouTube videos. She started with nothing. And I want to say it was 6 or 7 years ago now. But she has grown this into an amazing business for herself. And she's in like the manifestation space, which is very much adjacent to, I think, mindset work and programming your mind to support the dreams that you want. I believe manifestation all happens in the mind. So seeing her do that was very interesting to me. And I'm sitting there wondering, should I be doing YouTube? I've always said I would never do YouTube, but I don't know why I said that. I just didn't want to be a YouTuber. Same way I said I don't want to be an Instagram influencer. The data is pretty hard to argue with, though. People actively search on YouTube. They come with questions and they want their solutions. So it is a completely different energy than Instagram scrolling. And here's something funny that came up too. At the end of this workshop, they were saying how we're going to do, whoever wants to commit to this, jump in, because we're going to do a November challenge where everyone in the group posts on a short form content every single day for the entire month. And I was just laughing because I started that in September, people. I've been posting daily for 2 months already. I've got a system down. Although I'll talk about this more next week in my official check-in, right? October's views seem to be pretty down from September. I feel like the algorithm is punishing me for being consistent, but also repetitive. Instagram wants more variety, apparently. Wants me dancing for attention instead of standing steady in my truth. So I'm going to decide what I'm doing there. But speaking of standing in your truth, when it makes you look crazy, Wednesday, I am decompressing from the first day of all this messaging strategy at that workshop. And I happened to listen to this podcast that got my full attention. This guy, his name is Tom Matt. His story, you tell me if this isn't the universe handing me over a point about how you need to be okay with being seen exactly as you are. So I want to say this guy about 10 years ago was in the darkest space of life. I mean, he was homeless, he was bankrupt, cocaine addict, destroyed his marriage, his relationship with his kids, his business, everything, rock bottom in every sense of the word. And one day he starts seeing holographic projections around people, actual visual holograms with a slight color tint. That's how he describes it. They're not auras. They're these three-dimensional holographic, is it holographic or holographic? I truly don't know. I'm going to go with holographic fields, showing what their subconscious is projecting into reality, into their field around them. I was locked into listening to this episode because I know the subconscious mind does work in symbols and imagery. That is its language. And this makes total sense to me. Our subconscious constantly talks to us through symbolic information, especially in our dreams. And most of us just can't see it visually, let alone remember it. But he was thinking that the drugs must have caused it. Maybe he damaged something that opened this ability. However, he was sober when it was happening. He's been sober for the last 10 years. He's actually repaired his whole family. It's a very sweet story. But at some point in the last decade, he went to get brain scans done at multiple different labs, but one of them was the Center for Noetic Sciences, and they found zero damage to his brain structures. Nothing. His brain's completely healthy. They don't have an explanation for why this started. And he didn't plan to make it a business. He kept getting this feeling, though, this inner knowing that he was supposed to share this gift instead of hide it. Like literally share it. He thought, well, there must be a reason I'm being given this ability. So he started offering readings for people not that long ago. I want to say he said maybe March or April of this year. So we're talking 6 or 7 months, and his business is exploding. So he's not successful despite being quote unquote crazy. He, I think, is successful because the world is ready for a new reality. People are hungry for what exists beyond the veil of normal. We're collectively, I think, at this point of being done pretending that the only real things are things we can measure and weigh right in the here and now. Because if a former homeless cocaine addict can build a thriving business, seeing invisible holographic projections of the subconscious mind, maybe the world's ready for whatever wild thing you're out there hiding, right? And maybe I can stop worrying about looking to woo, teaching people to engineer consciousness using their human design. Maybe we're all being called to drop this act of respectability. And speaking of acts and dropping them and being real about how energy works, this week also brought a massive realization to me about my own human design. So for the first time on Monday in almost 2 years, I didn't record a memo episode. Monday and Thursday have been my recording days forever. 2 episodes weekly for almost 2 years. And this last Monday morning, I was physically squirming. My body was in rebellion. It wanted to create. It wanted to put something out there. My hands were itching to record something. It felt wrong not to be doing it. It felt like I was betraying something or breaking a promise. But by Thursday, it was more of a little whisper, just barely a thought about it. And today, Sunday, I realized how liberated I feel. Because I'm a manifesting generator. That's my human design. We are not meant to find one thing and stick with it forever. We move from passion to passion, completion to completion. Master something, complete it, move to the next thing that lights us up. And we take bits and pieces and bops and all kinds of things from each project that we work on, and it ends up amalgamating into some new creation that we couldn't even envision. But that's not how I grew up. Both my parents are generators. They're the type that finds their one thing and goes deep with it forever. They stick with it. I grew up in that kind of energy. When you find your thing, you stick to it. Consistency is everything. Once you start something, you do not quit it. My parents worked at the same place, doing the same job for their entire lives, right? That is not how my energy works. Forcing myself to keep producing memo episodes when the work is complete. For me, that is like trying to eat when I'm already full. So the liberation I feel from really letting memo be complete has released all kinds of creative energy elsewhere. I'm seeing new possibilities, and it's exactly what happens when a manifesting generator honors their design. I'm navigating all kinds of business decisions. I'm processing this completion moment for memo. I'm integrating my messaging workshop. And Thursday morning arrives with its own special little message. I had done my regular morning walk already. Something called me to go back outside. Like I needed to move my body again. Like I needed time to think through all the spinning options and situations we're dealing with. So I put on my custom meditation that I got from my business coach, Carly, about a week ago. It's this amazing, bespoke custom audio she created just for me. I've been listening to it almost every morning, walking, breathing, living into that, using it to truly embody the identity that I am now. I come to this T intersection. I'm on the longer part of the T, and I'm about to cross when two coyotes emerge from my right. Now, we do occasionally see coyotes in our neighborhood, but in the 12 or 13 years I've been living here, I can count sightings on one hand. I've never seen two together. So they stood there looking at me, just looking at me. One seemed particularly interested, following me a bit, while the other one kind of hung back. So, of course, as soon as I could, I whipped out my phone and looked up the meaning of seeing coyotes. I think the universe always sends us signs in the way it knows it will get your attention. So I happen to love Vanessa Henry. If you haven't gone to her website, go check it out. She's got this whole section on creatures and omens and signs that you receive receptively when you're out in the world. So I think the universe knows I was going to Google the spiritual meaning of seeing coyotes in the morning and look it up on Vanessa's website. The universe works with your receiving system. So if I was somebody who never thought to look up the meanings of animals, I don't think I would get messages received that way, if that makes sense. So I look up the meaning, and it's basically about being adaptable. And also the word trickery was in there, and transformation, trickster, deceptive energy that humbles you and reminds you that you don't have all the answers. I also saw something about some traditions saying it's a warning to be cautious on your journey and reflect on your path. So the part about deception and trickery really got me, because that is a core wound of mine, being deceived, being tricked. It's a massive trigger. So I remember thinking, I hope nobody out there is trying to be deceptive with me. I do not want that. So I also want to back up, because the curveball I've been talking about colors everything about this week. So earlier this month, I'm not going to go into the full details, but our household got hit with a major financial curveball. It was sudden, it was unexpected, and it was the kind that shakes your foundation. I work as a professor. That does not fully support us. Suddenly, we were looking at a completely different financial reality than we had been in the days before. My first thoughts were, okay, universe, I asked to build a business on pure energy over the next year, and now you've decided to make that absolutely necessary. Like, this is your idea of raising the stakes. I said I was going to make a bet, and you're making sure that the ante reflects the stakes, right? So fear cycles were intense. Wasn't living in fear, but fear moments were definitely popping up. Like I said, I was doing my Wim Hof breathing every morning to regulate my nervous system. And I kept having these thinking loops that we're going down a very catastrophic hole. What if my credit gets destroyed? What if I lose the house? We always go worst case scenario. What if I have to sell everything I own and start over? What if the market crashes when I need to sell something? What if I won't qualify to go anywhere else? Now, I am proud of this. In all of that turmoil, I never switched over into hustle mode. Old Laura would have immediately launched emergency programs. Like quick, go, create a new offer, take on extra work, force money to appear through sheer will. But I didn't do that. I stayed and sat with the fear without letting it drive my actions. I was very proud of that. And I started to look for moments of freedom in the fear. Because truth be told, we could sell the house. We could downsize dramatically. We could go live in a tiny studio somewhere and invest the equity differently. Mike doesn't have to stay in the same industry he's always been in. He could find something else. We have options. We have choices. We're not trapped. And Thursday morning, after seeing those coyotes, I'm on the phone with my parents, and I realize what the warning about deception was really about. I wasn't being warned about someone tricking me. I was being warned not to trick them. Because my pattern with my parents has always been to hide the real problems, to protect them. I do not want them worrying about me. So I make everything sound better. I perform this feeling of everything's great, everything's fine, even if it's not, because I do not want them worrying. I want them happy and peaceful and enjoying their lives after all of the work that they have done. So I'm sitting there, phone in hand, and I remember those coyotes, the warning about deception. And I chose in that moment to have complete transparency. So I told them everything that's going on, not in a panicked way, but I just explained it. And I explained that we were in uncertain waters, and that there was some fear there. And I told them the different options we were considering. Wasn't asking for help, was just being real. And I was asking for guidance because I do respect their opinion on things, but I definitely was in a moment of being able to stop the performance of a daughter who has it all together all the time, who wants to make her parents proud. And in that moment of complete honesty, something in me shifted. I heard myself say words to my mom that I didn't even plan. I was saying, I'm in this space of being willing to release attachment to anything and everything in my life right now. The house, the lifestyle, the success, whatever it is. I just want to go to the next step that I'm supposed to go. I don't want to try to hold on to anything that I'm not supposed to have. I'm ready to release it all and only have what I'm meant to hold. And I meant it. Probably for the first time in my life, I meant it. There wasn't any bargaining behind it with I'm willing to let go, but only because I think you're going to give me something even better. It was complete surrender, total trust. Whatever happens is going to take me exactly where I need to be. I'm in the perfect spot. My life is the best it's ever been because I'm not going to try to hold on to anything that isn't for me. 15 minutes later, literally, maybe 10, Mike comes into the door. I'm still on the phone with my mom. Comes through and he shows me he got a text from an opportunity he thought was dead. Something that had literally ghosted him weeks ago, resurfacing in the text. And it was an offer, not just any offer. It was the right offer and ready to move forward immediately kind of offer. It was the shortest, quickest resolution to the most terrifying curveball we've ever faced. I could not believe it. And later, reflecting on that morning, it hit me. There were two coyotes, two, my mom and my dad. The universe sent me two trickster spirits to warn me not to trick the two people who've always been there. The symbolism was so obvious once I saw it. I just knew I had to listen to that warning. I didn't know the whole picture, but it all clicked into place. So looking at this week, everything taught me the same lesson from different angles. That morning sky with the dome of amazing colors telling me you can't say the wrong thing to the right people. The messaging workshop teaching me some strategies while I'm also playing with releasing anything that creates distance from truth. Tom Matt proving that your wildest truth might be exactly what the world needs, showing me that respectability is highly overrated and authenticity is everything. It's truly everything. And my own human design showing me perfectly that completion is not quitting, not for me. Completion is renewing my energy. It's honoring how my energy works. Because forcing myself to continue when something is complete is another form of hiding from what wants to emerge. And then my little coyote friends showing me that the only deception I needed to worry about was my own, my pattern of protecting other people from my truth. The universe's immediate response when I dropped all the walls, all the veils, all the protection, all the performance, and went into full surrender, we got a solution. I've heard other people talk about moments like that, but it blows me away when it happens to me. So what's happening in the business beyond all this mystical downloads that I've been talking about and coyote sightings? Human Design Deep Dive is going to launch in a few days. Doing this in November. 30 days, small group, going deep into individual designs. I'm creating as I go. I'm building the plane while I'm flying it. Registration page is finished as of tonight. Messaging is coming together. And the clearer I get about saying, I'm going to teach you to use human design to engineer your consciousness, the more interested people are getting. I'm not doing any kind of fancy marketing. I am considering YouTube, but not forcing it. Had a good talk with my son about it this morning. The evidence from the workshop is compelling. It's a place where people go to learn, but it's also a massive commitment. Setting up a studio situation, worrying about appearance and editing videos. Although I will say, if I can post daily on Instagram, screenshots of my random thoughts, I can probably handle showing my face on camera. And the bet continues exactly as it is. This is not designed, though, to build my business. This is designed to document what actually happens while I build a business on energy instead of strategy. So this doesn't count as my long-form content. But it is weekly accountability, which is keeping me honest and also in motion. It's keeping me moving forward every single week. And Substack continues its little slow build. That's a long game, and I'm okay with it. And Memo is complete. 100 little 82 episodes of transformation, ready for anyone who needs them. No more weekly productions, although I know I'm going to drop bonus episodes in there whenever the inspiration hits. Completion doesn't mean abandonment. It just means this foundation is really solid, and anything else is pure magic, pure bonus. And here's something I'm getting real clear on my overall assignment in life. Every piece of content I'm creating points to one thing. How do I lead myself through my own life? Because your life is your assignment. You don't get a different one. You cannot trade it in when it gets hard. This is it. So the question becomes, what makes it better? What helps you move through it with power instead of panic? What helps you be able to own it instead of being a victim to it? What can give you joy instead of dread? That's what this experiment's all about. Not can I build $1 million business on energy alone, but can I lead myself through my actual life, curveballs and all, from trust. instead of force and strategy. So we're 8 weeks in, and we're not theorizing anymore. We are in it. We are living it. The tests have been coming hard and fast. Fear is legitimate. I've got material consequences on the line here. So next week is my second monthly check-in for the bet. I'm so excited. I'm going to check the numbers. It's so hard not to peak throughout the month, but I'll tell you all the numbers, the metrics, what's actually happening versus what I think is happening. October's Instagram views, I do feel like, are down. I don't know what I'm going to do from November, but I know it's growing already. So we'll figure that out by next week. The Human Design Deep Dive is going to open for registration, so I'll tell you how that turns out. And Mike starts navigating his new opportunity. So Coyotes reminded me, stay adaptable, be willing to be surprised. Maybe I will be on YouTube. Let that trickster energy humble me when I think I've got it figured out. Maybe that's week 8's biggest lesson. The moment you think you need the perfect message, the perfect strategy, the perfect words, the perfect plan, that's when you get a message that the right people are always going to hear you perfectly. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right people. This includes the universe itself. So go bet on yourself, especially if you can't see how it's going to work out. That's when the real magic happens.